Welcome to today's class, everyone, on learning how to create better video for more visibility. So I'm super excited. I'm Jenny Edwards, and I'd love to share this content with you all based on what I've learned in the last 13 years of experience doing photography and video here in San Diego and Southern California, and sometimes abroad as well. So I've had lots of amazing experiences, and definitely now a huge shift in not being able to really leave my house except for taking walks around the neighborhood. And this is my day 14 of my San Diego quarantine. So staying healthy, staying as positive as I can be, and in this challenging time, really looking to see how I can shift things and be more visible. So how many of you want to be more visible online right now? You can just give me a wave, raise your hand if you're in front of the camera, or just a thumbs up and yeah, thanks for the hand raise. Thank you, a few of you. And I know everything right now is hugely shifting, and we have to really stay on top of it to help our businesses thrive. So how many of you would say that referrals are your biggest form of business? Referrals that you get. You can raise your hand. I know oftentimes when I talk to business owners, that's what they mention is like, oh yeah, referrals, usually like face-to-face referrals. Maybe you're in networking groups, you're in, different kinds of organizations for your industry. Maybe you're in referral groups. And now all of a sudden, everything shifts. So we can't be seeing each other face to face. We can't be speaking on stages live in front of groups. So what do we do? What's the best form of communication and visibility that is easily at your fingertips? It's video. Yeah, video. It's how you can show up and tell your story and be more memorable. What is it? Memorable. Yeah. You want to be shareable. You want people to engage with you, and you want people to be part of the conversation, right? So how do you do that? Well, that's where we are going to chat about to really show up visibly, be engaging, and be memorable. And ultimately, it comes from feeling confident in what you're sharing, and who you're being. So getting to your authenticity and really tapping into that confidence. So what does that look like? So first of all, I mentioned creating more visibility online and why that's necessary so people can remember you are still in business, right? You still exist. You're open for business. You're ready to close some deals, right? Ready to start some opportunities, to being ready for a shift. How many of you are ready for a shift right now? Yeah, you can raise your hands. Awesome. Ready for a shift of consciousness, this global awareness, this awakening. And now's the time to really tap in to your gifts and what you bring to the table that can help people. And as I mentioned, it first starts with confidence, finding your strength and personal power. Do you have an affirmation that you say to yourself every day? Do you start the day that way? Or are you choosing to start your day getting sucked into the news or the current events, or like, charts and graphs and articles, like, it's so agonizing and depressing. Or when you got out of bed, what if you started your day by saying, before you placed your feet on the floor, I am grateful for, what are you grateful for today? If you have a pen and paper next to you, maybe jot down some things that are coming up for you during our time today. What are you grateful for? And then creating an affirmation around that. I know right now, and I love using affirmations. I know for myself, I've been I created a health affirmation. So affirmations always start with I am, and you can choose 3 words that describe that are adjectives that describe the way that you want to be as being your best self or your higher self. And this is my health affirmation. I am healthy, have great immunity, and am living my most vibrant life. And I can remind myself when, that news media conversation comes up, I am healthy, I have a great immune system, and I am living my most vibrant life. So choosing to maybe create some new affirmations for yourself right now to remind yourself throughout the day, and then speaking your affirmation daily and before you do your videos. So anytime that you need a little boost, a little kickstart to really jolt up your sense of confidence, this is a really great way. Now, if I was standing in front of you right now, I could do some power poses, but I'm currently wearing the baby. Yes, this is mommy multitasking for sure. My 3-month-old baby, my 4-year-old, and my husband in the other room. So definitely I understand that all of you out there are probably multitasking and doing a heck of a lot more than you ever thought normally possible for your day-to-day. But I appreciate you being here and learning from this. So starting with your confidence and speaking your affirmation. And then I jumped too far. Yes, knowing your audience. Knowing your audience. Who is your target client? Now, for many of us in business, we've thought about our target client as, maybe, for instance, mine, like a woman in her 30s or 40s, and she is growing her business or maybe starting her business. Someone that you're actually speaking to. You might have created some kind of a specific archetype. But really now you need to think about, where do those people hang out? Because now you're not meeting them in person, you're meeting them online. Or even better, I think, now you guys probably laugh because this might ring true to you too. But you might have this box of business cards from people that you've met at events that you've just been collecting for years and years and years. I know some of you on the call today I've met at networking events and are nodding. And it's what do you do with all these cards? Wow, now is a really great opportunity for you to start going through these cards and reconnecting with people and reminding them that you're still open for business. So this is a really awesome time to do this, knowing your audience and looking at ways that you could help them. So opening up to their specific social media platforms. Are they hanging out on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn? What do you choose to focus on? Because honestly, we only have so much time in the day. And to stay focused, it does require creating a workflow, because then you're not as apt to deviate from that, right? So knowing that and then creating the time to do that. We'll talk about goals and accountability a little later in this class, but just starting from there, knowing your audience. And then we're going to look at this graph, the hero's journey. How many of you have heard of the hero's journey? Some of you out there have probably heard of it. Joseph Campbell wrote a whole book about it, and it's really an important thing to look at the content that you're sharing, because knowing what to say is the first part, knowing what to say on your videos, and then knowing how to say it. So the first part of knowing what to say is how are you appealing to your clients' values? What parts of your product or service are important to appeal to their values and solve their problem? Because you want to be the solution, right? You want to help them, and you want to activate a powerful feeling in them, a powerful emotion. It's going to be like, oh, ding, 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 ding. That's the right person for me. Yes, yes, she is going to solve my problem, or he is going to solve my problem. And being the solution coming from, you being the hero here on this quest, like you personally looking at your life, were called on an adventure. You were called on this quest to go from where you were. Maybe it's when you were growing up and you were going to be, I don't know, let's say a Western medical doctor or something. And then you realized, wait, I don't know if I believe in Western medicine. Maybe I want to go more of the Chinese medicine route. And study that, and study other kinds of healing, or study naturopath. It's something that took you across the threshold into the unknown, which you're expanding your comfort zone, right? Does any of this sound familiar to you? Yes or yes? Something in your life that helped you cross that threshold into the unknown. And then along the way, you had mentors and guides that really helped you on this whole new path. And you had challenges, you had obstacles that came up, and then you also came to an abyss. You came into a revelation that you were like, oh, I don't know if this is the right move for me. I don't know if I'm on the right path. This is hard. Maybe it's happening right now. But the thing is, right after the revelation came the transformation. And the transformation is when you completely changed and you became a new and better version of you. And through this, you had other things that came up for you on your life's journey, and you had more guides and mentors along the way. And then basically, when you crossed back into where you were at the beginning, you never were the same. And when I talk about the hero's journey, I always relate it to Star Wars, because that's one of my favorites. And it's like Luke Skywalker and his adventure and all of the amazing people that he met and how he had to grow as a person. And look at him today. No, look at him in the later versions of Luke, in the later Star Wars versus the beginning Luke, right? He's a completely different person. And now, he became somebody that people look up to. He's the expert based on his life journey and his transformations. And you are that hero also. So pulling out some things from your own life and going back to your list that you could create about your values and what kind of values do you want to communicate based on those stories. Because you're basically going to be taking your viewers on a road trip through your life. And to be able to do that, you need to connect to them, because connection builds trust. Connection is how you are going to get them to understand that you are the best person to hire, that you are the one that can solve their problem. And you're going to connect to them deeply, really, by being the communication. Now, what is being the communication? Especially when you're in this little tiny screen, right? It's not like you're on stage when you can, fully use the stage and do a performance and, something where they're riveted and at the edge of their seat and, can't wait for more. But how do you captivate somebody in this little tiny space, right? And while holding a baby. And I'm going to stop and do a little screen share here stop the screen share for a moment, because I think it's important to really use the space. So using the whole space, I've done a whole lot of public speaking training, and we like to use the whole stage space, not just standing behind a podium. And this would be the same as a talking head. We've all seen just talking heads, blah, 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 blah. And after 30 seconds, you tune out, right? So it's knowing how to be in the story and really engage the emotions as part of the communication, because that is how people are going to align with you. Like, I just caught myself like looking at myself on the screen. How many of you do that? But by looking at the camera, you could be making eye contact with them, and you could be more connecting and more engaging. But by also becoming the communication, you can get emotional. You can explore your tonality. And I know that I'm also coming from my backstory, which when I grew up in a rural Illinois farm home, I lived a really isolated life. And when I was a freshman in high school, an opportunity opened for me to, ooh, so scary, try out for the theater club, which was super scary and frightening for me because I'd never done anything like that. I was really shy. I was an only child. And as I mentioned, living in a rural location just didn't really have a lot of opportunities for my self-expression. But it did have a lot of opportunities for my imagination, which is why years later, I call my business Guided by Imagination. But anyhow, the most important thing is the theater club really gave me an opportunity to explore my self-expression and be feeling more confident on the stage. I mean, back then it wasn't in front of the camera, but now, years later, and especially being a videographer and photographer now, I have really had the opportunity to not only film, photograph, and video lots of entrepreneurs like you, but also be in front of the camera myself and do the last 10 years of public speaking training. So utilizing this whole space here, and granted, when I'm doing video, I like to add in some still frames, do more editing, which might not be as easy for all of you depending on your skill set, but putting words on the screen, putting pictures on the screen, and being able to keep it more captivating for all of our viewers. So if we go back to our slides, then also noting that you are going to be engaging. And being engaging is also knowing your content. Need help strategizing your content? I can help you with that, because you want to be able to ask questions during your videos that get comments down below. So, think about, what do they want and how can you help them? But what questions can you ask that spark something in them, that open the conversation, that open the opportunity for you to continue talking with them? So that's going to be a big game changer in the visibility of your videos online. So think about what questions you can ask them. First of all, I'll ask you all questions right now. What are you learning right now? What's something that's standing out to you? Go ahead and type it into the chat. Something that's coming up for you that you want to do, or maybe something that you are doing that's working. So take a moment to write that in. Thank you. And also, let's see. We were going to talk about the editing too. Editing is something that I think keeps people's attention a lot more too, because especially if you're a professional brand, right? You have a logo, a website, or different tools that you're sharing that you want to continue getting visibility, and it is really great to put those on the video as well. Now, obviously, if you're doing like Facebook Live, can't really do that, but if you have an opportunity to share the branding on some other types of video like YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel, that is really important. And you do want to make sure you have a call to action. What's a call to action? that's what you want the people to do after they watch the video. Do you want them to go to download a free report or get a free gift on your website to start your email list? Do you want them to visit your Facebook page and like it? Do you want them to go to your website and set up a strategy session? Think about where you want them to go, because there's no point in putting out all this content if you're not giving them a call to action to take the next step. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, awesome. Feel free to raise your hand if you're like, yeah, I agree. Awesome. So next, I wanted to talk about the techie stuff. Okay, so I'm going to talk about techie because there's a lot of people out there that are like afraid of techie, afraid of all of the things. Like, okay, don't show your clip from your background in the corner of your shot. So I'll zoom in on myself a little bit more so that you can focus on me and not be distracted. Also, techie even comes to what to wear. I like to wear solid colors or things that aren't too distracting in the video, because you don't want people to be thinking about your outfit. You want people to be listening to your message and watching you, right? And you also might want to have like a solid colored background or a nice background in your home, some subdued art, or just a solid wall is fine too. But nothing too distracting or flashing or things like that. So, keep it minimal. Yes. And go ahead and type in your Go ahead and type. Do you have a question?
No. Never, well, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh.
Hi, Diana.
Hi. What I've noticed is all of these people that are on, what is it? The newscasters are broadcasting from home. And I actually watched a segment about how they had to create, like a background. And so I'm just, what you're just saying, I'm totally relating to all these different people that I'm seeing, from home.
Yeah. And I mean, right now, thank you for that. So, yeah, I mean, I have a backdrop and things from my photography studio set up in my home. But I'm actually in my office right now. So I just moved everything in here. And this is actually just set up on, I have a projection screen that I use for my home movies. So I just clipped up this backdrop. Now you could just use a bed sheet if you want, just to have something up that's solid. It's totally fine. Something that isn't going to be too distracting. It's great if you have, something with your logo on it, but if you don't, just do what works. And like I said, if you don't want to set that up, then just have something, a nice something in the background, and that is not too distracting. And I'm just going to mute everybody too. If you have a question, just go ahead and type it into the chat. And then, just a word on the chat too. It looks like, crafting, opening message. Oh, be a solution and use whole space. Yes. And visuals. Yes. Yeah, because many of us are visual learners, right? And if we're using video, then we want to be, maybe using our hands. We want to be a little more outrageous, using the space. So that also leads me into lighting. All right, right now I'm actually sitting in front of my window. So this is window light. Now, one thing you want to be careful is if you have glasses, you don't want to have a lot of glare that might be covering up your eyes, because you notice how in my eyes you can see the light in my eyes, and that is really important to also create more connection. Now, I always look at that when I take photos of people is, how's that light look? And And that's going to help build trust too, that connection. And so if you don't have window light, or if it's later in the day, you could also have one of these little guys, a little clip-on video light. You can get these super easily and cheap online. And when I'm out and about, I just clip it right here on my phone. And then it's giving me really good steady video light as I'm talking, if I'm doing like a YouTube video. And it's super, super fast and easy. And there's some different brightness settings. But you can see how the light really plays a huge role. You don't want to be sitting in front of a window because you're going to be backlit. And we've all seen that, people talking, and you can't even see their face, their mouth moving, or see the catch light in their eyes because there's just a big halo behind them. That's super distracting, right? And it doesn't really make you want to work with them necessarily. It doesn't help you hear their message very powerfully if you're just concentrating on bad light. So the next part would be the audio. Well, I did an audio test before at the beginning of this, and I was realizing that my actual mic was not giving me the best audio. So I'm actually just doing the built-in audio on my laptop. But if you are worried about hearing the distractions, if you live near a flight path and you don't want to hear airplanes landing or taking off, or kids in the background, then you can also do, just have some little Bluetooth headphones or something that could actually block out some of the sound. So testing the audio first, making sure you have good quality audio so it's not too distracting. Excuse me. And then also the next part is going to be the recording device, your camera. What camera are you using? The best camera is the one that you have in the palm of your hand. And it's probably your phone. You might have a digital camera that you want to use, and that's awesome. Obviously, I would love to take live video for you when the time is right, when we can actually leave our houses. But if that's not possible, I can guide you and consult you on how to do that most effectively from your own home. And part of that is just knowing like what settings to be using, what time of day, and what location to be shooting on. So that's going to make a huge difference in the quality and the professionalism that you're going to share. I wanted to mention too, in knowing your audience, it's going to be really important to be using the right software. Like we talked about Facebook, we talked about Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So think about what you feel most comfortable with using, or how you want to expand your comfort zone. Now is a great time to expand your comfort zone because people are doing more business online, right? So I actually did my first YouTube live video yesterday, and that was interesting. I'm not sure if you've done any YouTube lives yet, but I had to download some encoding software, which wasn't too difficult, but it just a little time consuming. If you notice, if you've done a Facebook Live, then it's basically like super easy because all you do is go to where you would normally make a post, and right above the post, what's on your mind, it says live video, photo video, live video, or live event. So if you do this, then you can do a live video, which is obviously uneditable, but it's a lot more visible than actually just doing your recording, like posting your recording. Now, why would you want to do that? Because you might be out at an event. You're not going to be out at an event right now. I take that back. You might be out on location, or you might be at some point interviewing somebody, and you're going to be you're going to be away from your computer, right? So if you have the comfort of recording the video, editing the video, and then uploading it, then that's going to be where you would just hit, create your post with photo and video and upload it. You can easily do that. I love doing Facebook Lives because it really helps me kind of tap into if I'm going through something emotional and there's a lesson behind it that I want to share, I like to just jump on and share it and jump on Facebook and bring people into that moment and what I'm going through and how I can create a transformational learning experience and really connect with people. Because that emotion, remember we talked about connection. Connection builds trust. So the more that you can bring people into that moment. And Diana wants to know, are there any video setting defaults that you should dial into your phone? Diana, do you mean like if you're recording video on your phone? Let's see if I can see your, like in the settings, in the actual video settings. Well, it's going to depend on your, it's going to actually depend on your phone. I know you have a really awesome phone too. So I would just go with the highest quality that you can go with, because you definitely want to do high definition as much as possible. And there's not necessarily, because a lot of people are going to be looking at things on their phone, or some people are going to be still on their computers, of course. But the most that you can be doing, uploading on Wi-Fi, high definition, recording on high definition, those are the settings that I would most usually use. So anyhow, the next part is about, okay, and type in if you guys have specific questions about those things that I mentioned for the Facebook Live, the YouTube Live, Instagram Live. I forgot to mention Instagram Live. Go ahead and type those questions in the chat as well. And also I wanted to bring up that if you have some actual footage that you have not done anything with, I can help you with that. If you have like old footage from an event and you're like, oh yeah, I really wanted to share that and I never did that. Or maybe you got some client testimonials from some of your work and you would love to share those right now to add more credibility to what you do, I can totally help you with that. I have a reasonable hourly rate, and we can chat about that as well, because that's something that we can do remotely, and we can be in alignment with what's your vision. Do you want me to create a sizzle reel of like the best moments from the event or the best parts of the client testimonial? So it's not like blah, blah. Oh, this person's great, blah, 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 blah. 5 minutes later, right? Nobody's going to tune in for that long, but have the best like snappy moments and snippets that people are going to want to share. So I can totally help you, put together your visioning and strategy. And I can help you set goals and have accountability around this too, because how many of you are also feeling, like I mentioned, distracted by all these things that you now have to put on your plate during this challenging time? Like, what do I focus on? Should I listen to this class? Should I watch this thing? Like, the news. Okay. Oh, it's time for lunch. Okay. I have to drink water. Okay. I need warm water. Like, there's so many things. So if I can help you with setting goals around your visibility and having accountability around that, I would be happy to help. I actually have a really great marketing content opportunity that we could work together. And it's basically creating content and scripts for you in alignment with what is your message, and I can help you clarify that message as well. So utilizing the messaging and the branding to create a monthly strategy. So every month you would get a new video, and I would coach you on how to record that video on your own. And I would, of course, coach you on what to say and how to say it, and then also edit it with your branding and all of the professional call to action and everything. And that is a package for $129 a month. So I made it a really reasonable price so that you can be able to roll out more content, get more visibility, and really show up in front of the right people at the right time, right? Because they're going to be looking at your videos 24/7. They're going to be looking at the videos at 2 in the morning when they can't sleep and they need a solution, and you can be the solution. So I want to ask you, if you had 100 people watching your video, how many of them do you want to take action? Now, this depends on you, what you're saying, what you're sharing, your story, your messaging, and how you're connecting with them. Because as I mentioned, the connection builds trust. So I would love to help you be more engaging, of course, be more visible, and really convert those prospective clients into paid clients to get through this challenging time and really step up your leadership as well and really stand out from the competition. So I want to gift you a complimentary inspiration session, and the link is on the screen, so you can jot that down. And that's a link to my calendar, so we can set up a time and I can actually give you ideas that you can use with the marketing that you're already doing to implement some new strategies and really stand out. So I'd love to help you out and really create a positive shift for you during this time so that you can, live your most vibrant life and really create the most positive experience that you can. And it all starts right here. So I would love for you to, share maybe something else that you want to do next. I'm going to go to the questions. So go ahead and type in some questions. Oh yeah, what's the software that I mentioned to have for YouTube? Oh, that came from Ashla. And that is actually, I got the information from YouTube yesterday. And it's actually called OB. I'm not sure what it stands for. OBS. OBS. It's an application that pairs with YouTube to encode it directly to YouTube Live. And Diana asks, do you usually create video on your phone or computer or both? That's a great question. Hold on one sec. I usually create on my phone because I'm usually out and about. And even this past week, I've been doing these daily inspiration videos. And so I did one on a walk the other day, like, oh, wow, it feels really great to be out of my house. And I talked about affirmations, and I talked about, what I was going through as being a mom, and some of the lessons that I'm learning from it. I did a Facebook Live from my backyard yesterday. I like usually being outside, but yeah, right. I mean, something like a setup right here in front of my window. I'm at my desk on my computer. Something like this would be really great. But I would just encourage you to be doing it more often than not. Definitely once a week for starters. If you look at creating like a planned day, like Mindfulness Monday, or Fantastic Friday, or something fun that people can just kind of jump into and always know that you're going to be doing Mindfulness Monday. And I borrowed that from my husband because he likes talking all about mindfulness and meditation. And Diana also asks, oh yeah, oh, to take the video with my phone, but what about editing or distributing or downloading? Okay, that's a great question. So yes, so I download things like to the cloud, iCloud, because I'm a Mac girl. But if you're doing it on your computer, then that's going to give you probably more opportunities as far as doing some long-term, like savable videos, because you can do this with YouTube. Is you can actually record it live, or you can record it and save it, and then you can re-edit that. There are some possibilities to do some editing on YouTube and adding some different things in. And then I also, sometimes you can even use your phone with iMovie if you're Apple. There's some basic editing software on there. But as far as like distribution, I'm usually just uploading it directly to that social media platform. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Yeah. Obviously for my professional videography, I record it all with my digital camera, and then I upload the files to my computer, and then I edit them in Adobe Premiere. And but that's something that if you have a digital camera, and you want to play with, but obviously again the best camera is the one that you have at your fingertips, because when inspiration strikes and you have this idea, you can grab it. I also forgot to mention that I do use a tripod for my camera, or I'm sorry, for my phone. Of course, for my camera. But you can grab a little tripod like this and have this on there. Now, I recommend always shooting it horizontally, because that is going to give you the most capabilities for editing. So, think about your laptop screen or your TV screen is formatted this way. It's not up and down. So if you see an up and down video, you're not really going to have as much capability to do anything with it later, except for posting it on social media, which lives there. But I would definitely recommend the horizontal format for that. Any other questions that come up for you? Anything you've been holding back and you've always wanted to know? Now you can ask me, ask away. And I appreciate all of your time too. I would definitely love to chat with you more about what's possible, and go ahead and check out my calendar on the Calendly link that I posted. Here, let me put that up once again, just as a reminder, and if you want to take a screenshot or something of that. So you can coordinate your schedule with me, and we'll chat, and I can give you some really juicy ideas to implement. And then I would love to help you, personally strategize your content, what you're sharing, and put together a really great opportunity to stand out, be more visible, be engaging, and really make some more money right now with your product and service to take it to the next level and make a bigger impact in the world. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you all for watching. And photo apps, phone apps. Michelle wants to know for using for photos and video to edit. Yeah, I mentioned you can use iMovie if you have Apple. I'm not sure what the corresponding, other kinds besides Apple But there are some really basic video apps and editing apps that you could just search in the App Store or on Google Play, and check out the ratings too. But probably iMovie would be the closest one that I know that's the easiest. And also, as I mentioned, I would love to help you edit video and really make it easy so you don't have to learn a new program. And that's my genius, so I can help you out with that. All right, thank you so much. Have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see all of your videos.